Major developments all around the world right now. Today, I'm going to show you what is so important to understand this year in 2022. The first thing I want to look at is what's going on with the EVER-GRANDE problems. Yes, you've got a company that's having some issues, but how does that extend to you? The second thing I want to talk about is the market madness. Yes, the stock market is near all-time highs. Perhaps you're watching the markets today all in the green, but what's going on underneath the hood? We'll talk about that. And the third thing is the CBDC, central bank digital currencies. What about the reserve currency right now, the United States dollar, and what has happened over the last few years, and what could be the major developments of 2022? Let's get into all of that and more. Let's begin. I'll touch on this really quickly, but want to let you know what's happening. Property stocks sink after demolition order. This is an EVER-GRANDE update. If you are unaware what's happening with EVER-GRANDE, basically it's a huge property developer inside of China. One thing led to another, the stock started to plummet. As this happened, you looked at what was going on with their bonds. Oh, we can't pay back. You've got an issue. Now it's not just one company. Yes, they have $300 billion of debt and much more off the books, but you start to see other property developers dealing with the same thing. You see, these companies here, it's not just about, you've got investors, they've got a stock market, you've got the simple brick and mortar, you've got construction materials and employees building houses, hopefully that they will buy it. No. We're talking about companies that were setting up financial instruments for investors to buy so that they can keep this going. Kind of like a Ponzi scheme, not so far that direction, okay? But there wasn't enough investors buying it all up. They were going to the relatives of people, the employees. They were getting it from anywhere they could. But then came 2020 and suddenly things were all messed up. That really, sent this thing in a tumble. So then we have this issue here going on right now. Chinese developer shares tumbled following local media reports that EVER-GRANDE had been ordered to tear down apartment blocks in a particular development. What happened? Well, apparently they got this building permit illegally, and that's it. Tear it down. I mean, they are really cracking down in China right now. But you would think, it's got to be just one company, right? No, not at all. You've got Sunak, you've got Shimao that they talk about in here. What about this? You go looking through here and they mention a few others, okay? I can't get to it at all, but you're talking right now, the update is tearing down 39 illegal buildings in 10 days. Okay, so this is big, and this is obviously going to have an impact. They had to halt their shares for a reason, okay? Because the chaos is right here, right now. Now, you are probably looking at this just over my head over here. I should probably do this. We're looking at the current situation. This is over the last year, but right in this region, these tiny little things here, this is the stock. But what has happened? You cover it all the way down. It's just been going lower and lower and lower. This is EVER-GRANDE stock. People have been trying to buy the dip in here. I mean, what are people doing? You don't want to hold a stick of dynamite and think, well, you know what? It's all right as long as I got that wick over there. No. Like, this is crazy. It is crazy town what we are seeing right now. And it extends further out. Why? Because who is buying the debt of these companies? All over the place, all over the world. Investors have been buying the debt of these real estate companies. Why? Because this is a $62 trillion asset. What are we talking about? Chinese real estate. $62 trillion? I mean, of course, there's going to be appetite all around the world. Now, all of it is not plummeting. That's not what I'm saying. But understand how big this is. That's all I'm trying to do. Chinese developers slump on the first day of 2022. Just showing you over the last year, you can see China real estate owners and developers valuation peers. This index has been going further and further down. Big stuff, right? Obviously. Now, let's talk about what's going on. Let's talk about what's happening here. You've got the supply chain issues. You've got what's going on in the markets. This happens to be about IKEA. Furniture giant IKEA raises prices as supply chain woes persist. Yes, you've got issues. And this connects in to what we've been talking about for so long. These companies are going to raise prices and they are not going to bring them down. Get used to it. Get used to paying higher prices. If you are going to the traditional stores, whether that's even the mom and pops or whether that's the big box stores, they are going to charge you higher prices. Why? Because Kraft, Heinz, and Unilever, and Johnson & Johnson, all these different companies are increasing their prices on the consumer. Look at this. Okay. Just as for the economy as a whole, the market story for 2022 will be a return to normal. As hiring continues, spending grows, and businesses hire and invest, the economy will be normal. The government normalizing policy on the same expectations. When you look at the macro picture, the overarching theme for 2022 will be us back to something like normal. Okay, remember that. Keep that in your mind. I'm going to refer to this in the coming videos. Understand that this is what the market expects, a return to normal. Are we going to get there? Maybe something like normal. But I'm watching right now all of these wacky things. Okay, we're going to go in lockdowns. This is it. This is over. We're going to restrict. And then at the exact same time, they're, easing in this way, and then they're locking down in this way. I think they can't get their story straight right now. I think that's what's going on. At the same time, we have got the tightening of monetary fiscal policy. This is coming at a strange time. Look at this, how BlackRock made ESG the hottest ticket on Wall Street. This is where the money is going to go in 2022. ESG. Now, what is this? Well, it's nothing but nonsense. Okay. Our flows continue to grow and dominate, right? On October 13th, that's what Think said. But what happened? Well, right here, Think did not say BlackRock drove a significant part of the shift by inserting its primary ESG fund into popular and influential model portfolios offered to investment advisors who use them with clients across North America. But guess what? When they go ahead with these ESGs, they're usually the exact same thing as all the other funds, okay? Apple and Amazon and Facebook and Google and all this, except they have a higher premium. They charge a higher rate to their customers, to their clients, but it's no different. It's literally the same stuff. I've shown you the ESGs before. But the point here that I wanted to make is not the fact that this is nonsense. It's the fact that this is where the money is going. Just pay attention to that, okay? Remember that. This right here, if you've seen it, I know you've seen it. This is basically Jerome Powell on 60 Minutes being asked, this was earlier in 2021, and the interviewer asks, did you flood the system with money? And he says, yes, you could think of it like that. We printed money digitally. I want to repeat that over and over again. We printed money digitally. Jerome Powell has said this. We printed money and bought debt instruments. That's what he says towards the end of this. It's a 31-second clip. Links will be in the description under the sources. Look at it. We print many people. No, they don't print. They don't print. You've got Jerome Powell saying this. Ben Bernanke has said this. And Alan Greenspan have all said that they do this. And I don't care what certain people say. This is what they do. I invited Snyder on. Okay, Snyder? You want to come on and dispute Ben Bernanke, Powell, and Greenspan? Okay, you got the floor. I'll give you 30 minutes to talk on my channel. but you're not coming on because you rejected it. Anyway, during the entire history of the United States, 75% of the money supply was added in just the past 14 years. Look at what they're doing. Look at it. This is the M2 money stock on the top chart. And at the bottom, it's just showing you the federal debt. During the entire history of the United States, 70% of the current debt was added in the same 14 years. It's just massive. It's unbelievable. Another fact to look at here is what has happened. The S&P 500 over the years, I should say. And what happened? What do we see? During this period of time in which QE had been pumping up, this goes back, I should be very clear about this. Taper tantrum time frame, you had that. But this is 2013, 2014 time. And what was going on here? Well, the market basically wouldn't fall further than its 100-day moving average. Okay? And what do we see today? I did a video, what was it, last week? Maybe 2 weeks ago, saying that the market hitting the bottom, maybe I could just pull that up right now really quickly. You could look at this. If I just quickly do this, hang in there with me for a second. Yes, right here. If you look to the right-hand side, basically above where my head is, I did a video right in here, right there, saying historically this is what happens. It bounces off of not only the bottom Bollinger Band, but this was also at the exact same time the 100-day moving average acting as support. I said historically we're going to go to the top Bollinger Band. That's what's going to happen, and exactly that occurred. If you were buying options in here, calls, or whether you were just buying the index, maybe a leveraged ETF, you would have been doing well. The point here is that we are seeing the same parallels that we did before. What about this? Inflationary pressures, not just on the markets, the stock markets, I should say, but of course on commodities as well. Cost of building a home headed back up as lumber rips higher to finish 2021. Lumber excessive right now. You can see the price going back towards where it was. Many people said, oh, okay, it's just going to go down and down, down and down. That hadn't been the case. It did drop down significantly. The price was crazy on the way up, crazy on the way down. And here we are going back up. This is huge. This is so key to understand, but it's not just that. Let's get into a deep subject right now, but I want to cover it just briefly because this is something that I've talked about many times before, but it goes real deep. Okay, understand how this affects you as an individual. This is the US dollar share of the global reserve currencies, percentage of the allocated reserves. People think the reserve currency, the US dollar, as if there's only one. No, the US dollar is 59% of the total. 59%. And back in 2014, it was 66%. So it has been generally moving down. There is a suggestion that countries will start to use cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin as part of their reserves. Whether that's going to happen, we'll see, okay, on a grand scale. Reserve currencies except the US dollar and the euro, because of course, those are the two big boys. What has happened? Percentage of allocated reserves, still small by comparison, obviously US dollar number one, but the yen has picked up. We have seen that, no doubt. As well as the RMB, China's currency, started to become more recognized globally. Big news, clearly. Now, this was sent to me by a subscriber. I highly recommend checking it out if you're interested. cbdctracker.org. You could see what's happening with the central bank digital currencies around the world. This is going to be the new thing. This is going to be huge in 2022. And of course, I will keep you updated on what happens. You could look at the different projects that are going on. United States, Project Hamilton, as well as this one, United States of America, CBDC, whether or not, the names and so on. It just gives you a legend. It shows you what's happening. You can click, you can see what the status is right now. understand what this means. The central bank digital currencies around the world are now linking up to a central and unified system. They're doing this with the biz. The biz going around, I should have looked it up prior to, because I talked about in yesterday's video how you've got central banks around the world going together. Hey, let's do it. Let's do this work together. And that's never a good thing. You never want to see that. But of course, the biz is there as a central bank of central banks, and they are making this happen. So I think it's important to understand this on the deeper level. What are they doing? They're ceding control to the supranational entities, and that means your currency is at stake. I want to thank you for being here. If you want to support the channel, simply click that thumbs up button. It's right down below. Let me know what you think of this. Let me know what you think about the central bank digital currencies and where we are headed in 2022. That's all. If you found this video informative, you got to give it a thumbs up. And of course, don't forget to check this video out. All right. It's right here. Click it and I'll see you there.